Been a lot of history between these two teams. Obviously, a storied rivalry between two franchises.
It's a special shot next year. We do shades of Reggie Miller.
Yeah, I'm just wearing a hoodie. I like to be comfy on the plane.
Reggie Miller, 8 points in the final 32 seconds. John Starks at the point. Ewing puts it down. Johnson is fouled and hit. His three-pointer. A modern-day Willis Reed coming on. Yes. And a shot. And down hard. And Hibbert recycled the shot. For New York next to the NBA Finals. Ding dong, the witch is dead. And we're going to Disney World.
But I still don't like the Pacers.
I've been called a lot of names in this building. Boogeyman.
Miller was aghast that Jackson was now a member of the Knicks again. Because of the rivalry that the Pacers and Knicks have had. And the Indiana Pacers back in the conference finals.
I mean, it still kind of bothers me.
We haven't been here since my dad played. This is great. To add another chapter to it is going to be a lot of fun and just excited to compete against these guys.
Welcome to Playoff Central Live, presented by AT&T. The Eastern Conference Finals start tonight. That's Brendan Haywood. That's Dennis Scott. I'm Chris Miles, and the Indiana Pacers, New York Knicks meeting in the Eastern Conference Finals the first time since 2000. Now, these two teams got here some interesting paths, right? Because the New York Knicks, they had to take care of the defending champs to get here, and the Boston Celtics, obviously the team they beat, and the Cleveland Cavaliers, team with the top seed in the East, that's who the Pacers had to beat to get here. So, Brendan, those are two interesting paths to get to this point for these two teams.
Yeah, it's definitely two interesting paths, and it's going to be interesting to see how this series played it out because they're going to have to do things very differently, especially when you're talking about the New York Knicks. But the New York Knicks did very good against Boston. They loaded up. Mm-hmm. They loaded up on Tatum. They loaded up on Brown, and then they were willing to live with the decisions those guys were making. The Pacers are going to play a different brand of basketball.
Yes, sir.
Tricky Rick Carlisle is going to have these boys moving that ball all around the perimeter. And his thing, Rick Carlisle's main point of emphasis offensively is always ball movement. Correct. And when you look at the Pacers, everybody gets a chance to touch it. They were equal opportunity offense. They don't have a guy that's going to average 30, but they have a bunch of guys that are going to be able to knock down shots, compete on both ends of the court, and they're very hard to guard because they make you chase that rock.
And, Chris, for all the New York fans watching, even for yourself, I applaud you because you just gave all the stats from last time the Knicks have been this relevant. So the question for Knicks fans and players, how do you play with emotion and not be emotional and get caught up to everything he just said? Because they're coming like OKC. They're playing 10 deep. Every guy that steps on the court will affect the game. How do you continue to play with the emotion you've played with throughout these playoffs to the road, to your point, once again, that you broke down, but not getting emotional, get caught up with what happened last year, not get caught up with Reggie Miller and all that kind of stuff, and stay in the moment? Then you can continue to be happy, Chris.
Well, you say emotional because the two guards in this series certainly have their fan bases emotional with some great moments. Tyrese Halliburton, a two-time All-Star. Jalen Brunson, a two-time All-Star and Clutch Player of the Year. Here are the Knicks on facing Tyrese Halliburton.
How great Tyrese is, you can't give him just gaps and let somebody be on the island. I think it's a team defense and you got to show bodies, for all the really good, great guards. You always can't let them just play one-on-one and be by themselves, and they're crafty enough to find what they want to get to.
Excited to add more chapters to this, storied rivalry and just continue to be a part of it. And yeah, man, I look forward to playing in that building. And maybe it's a good thing that my dad won't be able to go. So yeah, I look forward to the environment for sure.
Didn't really know Tyrese until we played, like you said, so we got a great player. He's done a lot. He's quieted a lot of people. He's obviously their engine, and they go as he goes, and he does a lot for their team. So it's going to be a tough task, but this is, like I said, this is a new challenge for us.
Now, when we talk about Tyrese Halliburton, there's a reason that the Knicks are holding him in such high regard. Last year in the playoffs, he had a playoff career-high 35. This season, he also scored a season-high 35 against the Knicks. Why is Halliburton such a difficult matchup for the New York Knicks and keeping him contained as a scorer?
Well, first thing comes to mind for me, B-Wood, is what? Listed as 6'7", 6'8", long arms, so he can see over the defense. Like this play right here, not leaving, for the jump shot with Giannis going by him. So he's learning how to continue to attack the defense, get to the paint, but sharing the basketball. When you're 6'7", 6'8", and now you're putting the pressure on the defense when the double team comes, he's finding the right guys, either a slip for a dunk or finding the guy in the corner for a three-point shot. That's why he's being so successful. He's playing with a high level of confidence right now.
Again, Brennan, these two teams meeting for a second year in a row. Last year in the playoffs against Indiana, Jalen Brunson averaged 29 points a game.
Oof.
He had 2 games over 40 in that series. Do you think this Pacers team and what they're doing this year defensively are more equipped to slowing him down?
I actually don't. I think there's no answer to slowing Jalen Brunson down because he has all the answers to the test. He is the definition of what a 3-level score looks like. He's knocking shots down from the 3-point line. The mid-range right here, that's Jaylen Brown he's working on, the 6'7", top-tier defender, getting whatever he wants to in the mid-range. He finishes in the lane with layups. He has floaters. He has footwork. He can post up smaller guards. And you can never speed him up. Mm-hmm. So I think the Pacers are an incredible team. I think they're a better team than they were last year. But can they slow down big body Brunson? Absolutely not, because he's seen it all. Mm-hmm. He understands how to get his shot off. Mm-hmm. He understands how to change directions at times, slow the game down, then speed up at the last minute, change directions, bump you off, get his shots off, and he's never scared of the moment. If it's a very close game, in my opinion, advantage Knicks, and it's because they have Jalen Brunson.
You know, when I hear that 3D, I think of those pump fakes, right? He and SGA, there's been some backlash in the playoffs of, quote, foul baiting.
Hey, can we see your pump fake again?
It's not like Jalen Brunson.
Before I get to the pump fake, I just want to add one thing to it, to B. Wood said. There's only one thing I would say that Rick Carlisle will steal from Missoula, what happened in Game 5 in Boston. They're going to put, Jalen in a lot of actions on the defensive end to wear him down. That's the first time he had fouled out in, 3 or 4 years of basketball playing. That's the only thing I can see Rick Carlisle doing to go at him. Now, on the flip side of that, to answer your question, how does Indiana stay disciplined? Because one thing we know about Jalen Brunson, the footwork and getting to the paint, and Chris, it's like this. It's, the pump fake. You got to put a little bit more to it.
Hey.
He's the best in the business. I don't care. Guards, power forward, center, they're pump fake. So just getting you off your feet. The step back. Yep, let's get to the free throw line.
That look way better than Chris pump
Come
fake.
on, baby. This is the part of the game where if you're a Knicks fan, you're like, phew. I know Big Body Brunson. He's going to take his time. He's going to get to his spot. He's not super fast. He's not super athletic. But he's going to give you one of those. He's going to give you another one. Then reach in there and be with, let's go shoot 2. That's what separates, and that's what B was talking about for Indiana. The defense will come in waves, but he has so many different crafty moves. I can see him getting 2 and 3, 4 guys in foul trouble in this series each game.
And for Indiana, they live up to their name when you talk about pace of play, right? Top 5 in the NBA the last 3 years. The Knicks, the exact opposite the last 3 years. So 3D, can you show us how Indy keeps up the pace?
Well, it's fun, and B. Wood, you're on fire today, is that they don't have one guy where you say you just throw the ball to and let's go get 30 at night. But when the ball is hopping from one end of the floor to the next, they have cutters. It's just organized, their version of organized chaos and finding the right person at the right time. So look at the action there. Pascal's not forcing it. You talk about Halliburton. That's one of his assists right there, making the extra pass, because we know he could have taken that 3. Now, another little secondary break action. Dribble handoff. Look at the great spacing. 5 out with a slip, put pressure on the defense, a diagonal pass. What do you have? Obi Toppin coming in the league. I didn't know he's a 3-point shooter. Here he is shooting the ball the way he's shooting it. So once again, the Pacers say, let's get a stop. Now you get out and run. Poor communication by Donovan Mitchell. He said the right thing, but didn't hustle all the way back. Quick ball movement. Neesmith, you knock down that 3. That's why if you're a Pacer fan, and to your question, pace, pun intended, they get stops, they get out and run, they share the basketball. That's why they're a team right now you don't want to play.
Yeah, and when I think of bigs, Brennan, right, I think of you as a 7-footer, but this is a whole different bigs matchup. Karl Anthony Towns, starting center in the All-Star game for the Eastern Conference. And then, obviously, Miles Turner, but this is a big for all eternity.
Big Pat in the building. I mean, he coached me for like 2 years, one in D.C., one in Charlotte. Hey, listen.
Come on, Brendan.
The nicest Hall of Famer ever.
Brendan.
The nicest Hall of Famer ever.
The Indiana Pacers punched their ticket to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Now we want to push the limit and see what we can do with it.
Pure joy here at Madison Square Garden. Knicks on their way to the conference finals.
We're going to have to be locked in on every possession.
That's usually what a playoff series comes down to, is a battle of styles. It'll be a very tough challenge.
Buckle up, people.
Knicks and Pacers have both a rich and a recent history. New York was eliminated by the Pacers in the second round last year in Game 7. The last time both of these teams made the finals, they beat each other. The Knicks beat the Pacers in 99. Pacers beat the Knicks in 2000. This is the fourth time they're meeting in the conference finals, tied for the most since 1971. With that, let's welcome in a guy that knows a thing or two about New York, whose brother once coached those New York Knicks, Stan Van Gundy. The Pacers have some really good defenders on this team, but Tyrese Halliburton not really listed as one of those guys, right? So on the defensive side, who is Halliburton likely going to match up against?
Well, during the season, they had Halliburton on Josh Hart. And we saw that for a good part of the playoff series last year also. So that's where I would expect him to start. Now, a lot of people have tried to put their center on Josh Hart in the playoffs. We sent him both of the earlier series. But if they do that, Halliburton's got to guard a scorer, and I don't think that they're going to want to do that. So expect him on Josh Hart at least early on.
Well, Stan, put a little pressure on you right now. With your defensive hat on, how do you slow down Jalen Brunson, because he's so smart getting into the paint, using those pump fakes to get guys in foul trouble? What's the scheme to try to slow him down in this series?
Well, you know what? I think what Indiana's plan was last year in the playoffs, was in the regular season, and will continue to be, 3D, is they want to not so much stop him as wear him down. And so they'll use multiple guys on him, probably starting with Aaron Nesmith tonight, pick him up full court, always have pressure on the ball, never let him do anything easy or get comfortable, and just try to wear on him. They have not blitzed him a lot on pick and rolls. They have not doubled him a lot. You know, they just want to try to wear him down and take away his efficiency a little bit so that he's not at his best in the fourth quarter.
Stan, obviously everybody's talked about this Knick bench and how much they haven't played this year. But do you think that their lack of depth will kind of catch up with them right now late in these playoffs when bodies are obviously tired?
Well, you know what? We're going to find out. They've had a little rest coming into today, so I think they'll be fine early. We'll find out. You know, it is interesting. The Pacers, both in the regular season and in the playoffs, they don't have a single starter who's played more than 34 minutes a game. The Knicks don't have a single starter who's played less than 35 minutes a game. So it's a total difference in philosophy. So where's the advantage? Fewer minutes, maybe a little bit fresher legs? Or do you get the advantage by having your better players on the floor for longer? And I think the great thing about the NBA in general, especially with coaching, is that you can win with a lot of different approaches. There's not one way to go, and we're going to find out in this series. Certainly a little bit of an advantage for Indiana in one way, but in another way, you're going to have to deal with New York's best guys throughout the entire game.
Yeah, also Reggie Miller on the broadcast with you as well. I mean, it must be an incredible feeling to just be in the arena with Reggie coming back against the Knicks.
Hey, listen, I mean, you know, my brother was an assistant with the Knicks early on when Reggie had the great run in '95, and then obviously he was the head coach here in New York in those series late. And I was able to watch those series, you know, or did watch them all the way through, you know, and the whole interaction. I mean, the rivalry between Reggie and the Knicks fans will continue tonight and throughout this series.
Stan Van Gundy on the call tonight for TNT. Thank you for stopping by and spending some time with us on Playoff Central Live.
Absolutely, guys. Enjoy.
Thanks, Stan.
Now, you mentioned that difference between the Knicks bench and the Pacers bench. The Knicks, the lowest amount of bench points in the playoffs, under 14 a game. The Pacers with a plus 22 in that department. So clearly, 3D, the advantage to the Pacers. The Knicks going to try to keep pace with that.
Yeah, B-Wood, we've been, I guess, nitpicking with Tibbs and how he's done this his whole career. I guess he's cut back on practice time because he's playing guys 44 and 48 minutes a night. So with that being said, that's how they're built. That's the way they built this team. They obviously B-Wood don't believe in their bench. But as a guy that's been tired before, and knowing that the way the Pacers are going to come at you in waves, he's got to believe in somebody on that bench throughout this series if they want to continue to move forward.
Well, when it comes down to the Pacers bench, the thing is they can just come at you, like you said, in waves. It doesn't matter if it's Obi Toppin. It doesn't matter if it's T.J. McConnell. They just have so many guys that come off the bench, and that's why they can play at that pace. They push the pace, and they believe in strength in numbers. They want to wear you down. So it might be a close game in the first half. They're not worried about that. We're going to keep playing that pace because we're going to come in with 3, 4, sometimes even 5 bodies of players that we truly believe in, and we believe slowly but surely that is going to wear down on you. And for an example of that, go back to last night, what happened in the game against the Minnesota Timberwolves at OKC. First half, first quarter. It's just like this right here. But, man, OKC's just coming off with quality depth. It's Isaiah Joe. It doesn't matter
Aaron
if it's Wiggins. It doesn't matter Caruso, whoever it is. They just keep coming off with guys that the coaching staff believes in that can play for long stretches, and we saw them tire the Timberwolves out. That is what Indiana is going to try to do tonight.
And for the Knicks, the guy that they rely on in that way, almost like a sixth starter, would be Mitchell Robinson. You look at the numbers, you go, well, Chris, they don't really stand out. But defensively, Brendan, he's making a huge impact in the playoffs.
Mitchell Robinson's numbers don't always stand out from an offensive standpoint if you're just looking at scoring. But if you look at hustle and what he brings, look at this play right here. Chris, he's going to rotate to every single member of the Boston Celtics. Everybody with a Celtics uniform on is going to see Mitchell Robinson on this play. Then the excellent closeout and ends up getting the steal. You very rarely ever see anybody, more or less your starting center, with that type of versatility. Now look at this play right here. Celtics think they got a defensive rebound? Nope. Robinson comes out of nowhere, gets it again. Karl-Anthony Towns misses the 3. Guess what? Mitchell Robinson right back in there, outworking everybody again. This time McBride is going to knock down the 3. He doesn't get the 3 points, but he created those 3 points. Look at the activity again. On the weak side, throw the lob up. He doesn't get it. Doesn't pout. Keeps going. Hey, man, throw that lob. Doesn't get it again. Don't worry. I'll do it myself. Multiple taps. Gets the offensive rebound. Offensive rebounding. Defensive intensity. Shot blocking, lob threat. That is everything that Mitchell Robinson brings to the game. And there's a reason why Boston was doing the hacker Robinson.
Until what?
He made
started making some free throws. But the reason why they were doing the hacker Robinson, they needed that young man off the court. They didn't care if this said he only scored 3 points or 5 points. They were looking at the defensive rebounding, the offensive rebounding. They were looking at the shot blocks, the steals, the hustle plays. They were looking how he was switching the pick and roll, guarding his yard. When you see all those things and the plus minus and what Mitchell Robinson brought to the table, there's a reason why the Boston Celtics did the hacker Robinson and wanted him off the court.
Yeah, and people forget. I mean, Isaiah Hartenstein was the guy that everybody looked at like, oh, he was the heart and soul of the team. The Knicks are going to miss him. But Mitchell Robinson getting hurt against Philly, against Joel Embiid, was also a huge loss in the playoffs before for them.
If Mitchell Robinson can split the free throws or like he did in the last game, go 6 for 6, now you're not missing Hartenstein. Because everyone remembers the left-hand floater, what he's doing for OKC. But what he brings to the table, and as B. Wood broke down in the He-Go, just make your free throws, and no one else is going to question why you're on the floor.
Yeah, Mitchell Robinson, definitely an impact player for the New York Knicks, Indiana Pacers. Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals, 8 o'clock on TNT. The Western Conference Finals, Ant-Man. He had to face that Oklahoma City Thunder defense. We'll talk about that next on Playoff Central Live, presented by AT&T. The most dominant defense this season lived up to their billing in Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals, holding the Minnesota Timberwolves to just 88 points in their Game 1 win. The Thunder scored 31 points off the turnovers and held Anthony Edwards in check to the tune of just 18 points. Both coaches understand that one big blowout win doesn't mean this series is already determined.
You gotta make more small plays consistently, whatever that might be. It might be an on-time, on-target pass. It might be a crackback on a rotation. It might be, a late shot contest, but a shot contest nonetheless. I thought Oklahoma City did a better job of making a lot more small plays than we did.
We just are always going to assume our opponent is going to play at their best, and Minnesota's best is really good. And they didn't play their best last night. The past doesn't influence what happens on this night. So a team's record in the regular season doesn't predict whether or not they win tonight. That's obviously like a playoff seed that we tried to plant early. No team's going to be perfect, and it's easy to react to that after an individual game. We understand that's the case. We just want to throw our best punch every night.
Let's welcome in Jared Greenberg from OKC. Again, Thunder won Game 1 by 26. But for both teams, we just heard from them in the sense of, okay, that's just one game they're putting behind them.
Uh-oh.
Well, that's called technical difficulties.
All right.
Well,
hey, man, that was some of your best work.
Maybe we'll hear from Jared a little bit later.
Nice little pose
but what do
there.
you guys, when you think of a long series and you go back to the Thunder Nuggets series, right? The Thunder scored 87 points in the first half of one of the games and blew out the Nuggets. That still went 7. You kind of feel like, okay, that's a point that you could see in this series as well.
I believe in Minnesota, so I know that Minnesota can come back from game 1. But I do think the Thunder are going to win this series, and I actually have them winning it in 6 because they have something that Minnesota hasn't seen all playoffs. They have real live defense, and they have size and versatility. If you think about what Minnesota was able to do to the Lakers, anytime they wanted to 3D, hey, McDaniels, Ant-Man, they ran straight to the front of the rim. There was no size there for the Lakers. Layups, dunks, whatever they wanted to. They play against Golden State. There's no size on Golden State, no quality big men. So guess what? They run right to the front of the rim anytime they want to. They get into the paint. We saw Julius Randle just doing whatever he wanted to do. Now you go up against OKC. Next thing you know, this is the number 1 defense in the league. Oh. You got Chet. You got Hartenstein. Those guys are inside, giving them real positional size, versatility. And when Minnesota ran to the rim, it was active hands and shot blockers, and they did not respond well last night.
That's the key word. After you watch the film, how do you respond? Oh, back to work. Get back to work, Chris.
Let's get back to Jared.
Man, is he actually going to answer the question this time, or is he just going to pose looking silly?
All right, so, Jared, the Wolves bench trio of Nasri, Dante DiVincenzo, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, 7 for 26 from the field. What is Minnesota saying about their bench and their issues hitting shots?
Well, first of all, B. Wood, I just wanted you to see how good the non-makeup looks here in Oklahoma City, so I want you to acknowledge that. The second part, Chris, I think it's more about the depth of Oklahoma City. Obviously Minnesota needs to hit shots, and I think they feel good about the looks that they got. The issue was that they missed 22 shots that were deemed to be wide open. 22 wide open shots. That's not going to happen again in another game in this series. But the bench, I think, of Oklahoma City is more of the story here because of how Mark Daigneault continues to keep everyone guessing on who he's going to use. It's a pattern that he's developed over the last 3 years, and it's been remarkable. Isaiah Joe and Kenrich Williams, they don't see the floor against Denver in the second round. And now all of a sudden last night in game 1 in the first half, these guys were huge presence. Kenrich Williams was a massive story in the small ball lineup this team went to. Jay Will didn't play last night. I don't know whether this is going to be a series where he just doesn't play, but I think it's a remarkable statement to this Oklahoma City roster that on any given night, whether it's a regular season game or a playoff game, Mark Daigneault can put in different guys at different times of the game, and it doesn't hurt anybody's ego and certainly doesn't affect performance.
SGA shot 14 free throws in game 1, most in a playoff game for him this year. What were the Wolves' thoughts on his trips to the charity stripe?
Listen, the Wolves said all the right things last night and then again today, Chris, acknowledging that it's just the way it's going to be. He's going, SGA that is going to get calls. He's aggressive. He drives the ball a lot. Flip side, Anthony Edwards only drove the ball 7 times last night, significantly less than what he typically drives in a game, even though this year is less than past years because the amount of threes that he is taking. But I think the Wolves today said all the right things about, hey, we know the whistles are going to go that way. We can't let that affect how we play. And I think the Wolves would like to see Anthony Edwards be more aggressive to try and match the aggressiveness of a Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And that's just the way it's going to be. We'll see if the whistles even out. I think the bottom line is the amount of threes that Minnesota took, they took 51 threes in the game. You're not going to get that many opportunities to go to the line yourself if you're living outside the entire game because the Thunder packed the paint.
I just got to make sure I get Jared's nickname right. I got it wrong before. Half man, half makeup.
Hey, man, he's Slim Shady
no
now.
makeup today. Slim Shady.
Hey, my man look good out there. Hey, my man look good out there. I ain't gonna lie. My man look good out there, man.
All right, Jared. Take care.
Oh, B. Wood, I miss you too, B. Wood.
Oh, man, just trying to be the best I can be.
All right, guys. So when I look at the Thunder's ability to take close games and turn them into blowouts in an instance, you look at it against the Nuggets in Game 7.
Can we jump into something real quick, though?
Mm-hmm.
This is just for me. 3D, I don't know how you feel about it.
Mm-hmm.
SGA is the MVP of the league. It's been announced.
Mm-hmm.
Can we stop with the foul merchant narrative? Can we stop acting like he's only this cold because he's out here stealing free throws? Can we stop acting like he is not forcing? Listen, I understand there were some calls that are going to go here or there. There's some calls that might go in his favor, some calls that won't. That's not new to the game of basketball. Star players always get foul calls.
I mean, he's the NBA's leading scorer.
Yes, but he lives in the mid-range. Mm-hmm. He's not out here just settling for 15 threes. Mm-hmm. He puts pressure on the defense constantly. I just hate the fact that he has played so great this year. And so on so many different networks, we're talking about the fouls and this, that, and the third, when we should be talking about the mid-range game, the footwork, the dedication to excellence and greatness, the growth of his game. It's like we get tired of talking about the positives. When somebody young comes up and is absolutely cooking, we want to run with a foul merchant narrative. I'm watching the game last night. One of the announcers talking about the foul merchant. Man, stop. He's just cold. He's that dude. He's SGA. That's just my rant for today. I had to get it off my chest because I'm tired of everybody putting this foul merchant stuff on his name. The dude's cold. He's the MVP. He's the best player in the league right now.
And he plays on a team that's been physical from the start of the season, through the regular season, through the playoffs, 3D, and getting back to the point of the fact that they take these close games. They were down by 4 at the half, right? Then they said, defensively, we're going to turn it up a notch and turn those turnovers into more points and win by 26. How are they capable of doing it so often?
Well, to add to your rant, B. Wood, the only people that are hating on that because they don't have a player on their team that can do that. I don't hear Knicks fans saying that Scott keeps saying that Jalen Brunson, that Jalen is at the free throw line because he does the same thing. He lives in the mid-range. Minnesota Timberwolves fans are complaining because Ant-Man doesn't do it like he used to do it because he hung around Steph Curry this summer. He want to shoot threes like we shoot threes. Those are the people who are complaining about it. Now to answer your question. Coach Daigneault has proven to us now that him and Sam Presti are on the same page. Here's the ingredients. I'm going to give you 10 guys that you can use every night, and they all bring something good to the table that helps you win. So to your question, they were down 21-10 in that first quarter. They called timeout. They made 2 subs. The next thing you know, they go on their first run. They go on their second run. Then they come out at halftime. They go on that big run. Now they're up by 25. The game's over.
When I think of Naz Reid and Dante DiVincenzo, I think of 2 guys that we've seen in playoff situations hit big shots. We know that they can shoot. Game 1, it was gone 3D. From your perspective, we heard Jared say the quality of shot. And I was actually off on the number. It's not 7 for 26. It's 7 for 36 when you add Nickeil Alexander-Walker to that mix. So why is it that group did not perform well from a shooting perspective in Game 1?
Well, the shots that Jared's talking about, they were just human. They just missed the shot. When you miss a wide open shot, that's not the defense. You just missed the shot versus a contested shot. That's why the numbers go down. I don't think those guys will miss those same wide open shots. But on the flip side of that, I didn't see the Wolves' defense tighten up as the OKC started figuring things out. Their defense didn't show up. So open shots are one thing, and when you notice, B. Wood, when you do make a few more shots, well, it kind of makes you feel better. You get back on defense and you get your mindset right. But you have to make the open shots to slow down the bleeding because OKC missed shots, made shots, or turnovers. They push it back at you every time.
And look, for the Timberwolves, their offense, you're going to go, what did Anthony Edwards do? 18 points in that game.
13 shots, though. Come on.
But we saw that with Joker in Game 7, only 9 shots. How do they limit guys who you know are coming there trying to score to that low amount of shot attempts?
Well, first it comes down to the fact that OKC's defense is number 1 in the league. They're number 1 in the league because they probably have the most 3-and-D defenders that you're going to have. Ant-Man starts off the game with Lou Dort. Lou gets tired. Guess what? Hey, Caruso, come get dude. Next thing you know, Caruso comes in there. Caruso gets tired. Hey, Casey Wallace,
there you go.
Come get dude. All the while they're pressuring the ball. That's why some of these guys are getting open shots. There was a play where somehow SGA got switched on to Naz Reid. And so you have, I think it was Caruso fighting over the screen, getting into Ant, and then there's SGA just sitting there at the top of the key. Like, even if you do get past him, he's going to make you work. You're not going to blow right past him. He's going to make you take 2, 3, 4 dribbles to get past him. I'm right here forcing you to pass the ball to Naz Reid. Now, we know Naz Reid can shoot, but you want to, in any playoff series, you want to cut the head off of the snake. And Ant is the head of the snake. Game 1, off with his head.
Well, tonight we get to see the clutch player of the year in the first game of the Eastern Conference Finals. You're watching Playoff Central Live, presented by AT&T. Hey, you know that's on a T-shirt now.
Hey, man, he crossed him onto a whole nother channel, man.
So
they got streets named after Brunson now.
What?
Hey, man, listen, he was on ESPN Deportes after that.
Tyrese Halliburton, the catalyst making it happen. Yeah, baby. Here we go. Oh, he's confident. Strike opposed, Tyrese Halliburton. Hey, come on, baby.
He is a special player. He's now an all-star.
Hard-nosed basketball, Indiana. Grit.
Who runs the show, a 20-point scorer with 10 assists, can drop dimes.
Oh, yeah, baby.
How do you like that?
The NBA's clutch player of the year is also leading the NBA in clutch points in the playoffs by a wide margin. His teammate Karl-Anthony Towns, fourth on this list, and the guy he'll be facing, Tyrese Halliburton, also cracks that top 5. Let's learn some more about the Knicks point guard, Jalen Brunson.
You know you only got one shot in this life, man. You gotta have will to win.
I got it in me, I got it in me, I gotta win to win. I got it in me, I got it in me, I gotta win to win.
Jalen Brunson.
He's a special player.
Brunson has been the maestro for New York. Brunson flips it up. It's good. A circus shot for Jalen Brunson. What a clutch shot from the Knicks All-Star. Jalen Brunson, cold-blooded. For the first time in 2.5 decades, the New York Knicks are going to a conference final.
I gotta win to win.
Very excited to be in the Eastern Conference Finals. It's been a long year, been a roller coaster ride of emotions. We keep fighting, you keep working every day to be the best thing you can be, and here we are.
When you feel this love that you're getting, you see these fans going crazy. What do you feel?
I mean, this is great. The fact that we haven't been here since my dad played or was on the team, it means a lot for this organization and this city.
It's definitely a full circle moment to lead this team, knowing where I was 25, 26 years ago when my dad played and where we are now. It means a lot.
I got you.
He was only 3 years old, and he was running around in the Knicks locker room the last time the Knicks made the conference final. And in just 3 years, he's become one of the great players in franchise history.
Playing for this organization, knowing the battles that happened before is something that I have great pride in. It's something that I won't take for granted.
Guy's just locked in as a player right now.
Brunson stops on a dime, launches. Oh, yeah! Jalen Brunson buries it. What a play from Jalen Brunson. Exceptional. What he wants is a championship.
I think it's very important I come out and set the tone. I've always tried to be a leader of the teams I've been on. It takes a lot of focus, composure, poise, and determination. In the playoffs, I just know that everything counts. Do or die situation, so you just got to leave it all on the floor.
Brunson, pull-up jump. He's got it. Jalen Brunson is lethal. The Brunson burner ignited.
The best closer in the game. There's a reason why he won the clutch award.
No matter what the situation is, when it's time to go win the game, I just feel like everything just kind of blacks out. My mindset is just to focus, making sure that I'm helping my team win.
Brunson, how did he do it? Jalen Brunson, dazzling. Jalen Brunson delivers once again for New York.
You know, 3D, and Brendan, both of you guys, there's a difference between being in the first round, second round, and then getting to the conference finals with a chance to go to the finals as the energy, the attention. You heard Tom Thibodeau kind of mention that in the Knicks having all of these streets in New York named after them. At what point does it start to become a distraction for the team? Is it in the conference finals like we're seeing with potentially the Knicks and the Pacers?
Where normally the younger team may get caught up in all the emotion and what the city's doing because, come on, this is New York. This is different when you're in a smaller market or, say, Charlotte. Even Orlando, we were going to the final. That was the first time them going through it. But this is New York. And B. Wood, correct me if I'm wrong, I can't think of other person than right there with the ball, what he's been through, all the stuff that's going on social media, draft night. Oh, he's not an NBA player. Oh, Dallas shouldn't have getting all the money.
When he got traded to the Knicks. Yeah.
All that stuff. I can't think of what better person to have in New York City, a New York, New Jersey native. Dad played in the NBA. I can't think of a better person to be in this situation, B. Wood.
Yeah, I agree. I think that when you look at Brunson, he's cool, calm, and collective. A lot of times you don't know if he has 3 or if he has 30.
Exactly.
He's just that type of player. And he's always been like that. Whether you
go back to high school. Yes.
Villanova.
Yes.
He just comes out there, he does his job, and You can't. He doesn't. He never gets too high, never gets too low. So to your point, I think he's perfect to lead this New York Knicks team. And to your question, Chris, you get into the conference finals for the most part, guys are locked in.
Yep.
We're locked in on the game.
Mm-hmm.
We're locked in on the scouting report.
Mm-hmm.
We're most of the time you're not doing much. You're going home, straight to the arena, back home, not going out that much because you understand what's at stake. You're a couple of wins away from being a champion.
Mm-hmm.
And every team that I've been on, for the most part, that had a chance in the conference finals, guys were really, really locked in, and the outside noise really didn't matter that much. But I was also on older teams.
There you go. See what I'm saying? Veteran teams, when you get home, you say, Mom, Dad, husband, wife, girlfriend, whatever it is, shh, we got work to do.
Yeah, there's a reason why your Mavs team was there and not your Wizards team. Yeah. I understand exactly what you're saying there,
Don't do my Wizards like that.
I completely understand. You were a young team.
Don't do the Wiz
That's
kids like that.
all I'm saying.
Don't do the Wiz kids like that.
Tyrese Halliburton and the Indiana Pacers coming of age against the New York Knicks. Miles Turner leading all playoff players in blocks per game. Knicks, Pacers meeting for the 9th time in the playoffs, the 4th time in the Eastern Conference Finals. Here's Pacers head coach Rick Carlisle.
We've got a few different guys on the team, and we've got some guys healthy that were hurt last year. Matherin's available this year. Bryant's new. There's a few other guys that are new.
The first 2 rounds, both the Pistons and the Celtics put Robinson on the line potentially a lot. Is that something you could see you got yourself doing?
Stay tuned. Really not sure, but I think you get to the start of a series, anything can be on the table.
Is that something you believe in though? Like, what is your take on kind of that philosophy?
It would depend on the situation, but I'm not going to talk really about strategy here.
Rick, it's been 8 days. Obviously, how are your guys feeling? How do you sense they're feeling coming into that?
Anxious to get started. This is, I think, the 9th day since the last series. So it's a pretty long time, but we've broken it up with a couple of some days off in between. So, but it's it's been a while, and so we're looking forward to getting stared.
Rick, I figure you and Tibbs have a pretty long history of coaching against each other. Do you guys have like a friendship or a personal relationship off the court?
Yeah. I have great respect for him. He's a friend, and we go back a long way. At the end of my playing career, I was trying out for the Timberwolves, who were a franchise that was just starting, and at the first free agent camp, he was one of Bill Musselman's assistants, and so that was kind of the first time I got to know him a little bit. And then, of course, over the years, he's had a great career, amazing impact as an assistant coach for many, many years. And then, he's had high impact as a head coach.
Rick, you said last year
So, Brendan, I felt like maybe he was talking about you. It's you and Caron Butler and your championship with the Dallas Mavericks and Rick Carlisle back when he had hair. And I think there's a little bit up there for you, too. You and Rick Carlisle had hair back then. But what makes Coach Carlisle such a good coach, especially in the playoffs?
What makes Coach Carlisle such a good coach in the playoffs is going to be his attention to detail, and his game plans are flawless. I'll say this, in 2011, every single series, the game plan that he gave us worked to perfection. Mm-hmm. He told us how we're going to beat OKC. Mm-hmm. He told us what we were going to take away, how it was going to affect them, and that was going to lead to us winning, and it did. He told us what we were going to do against Miami, and it worked.
And that was back before, people knew, okay, here's the blueprint against LeBron James. That was the first time in his career that he seemed flustered in the playoff series.
Yeah, I mean, just every single series, whether it was Portland in the first round, whether it was the Lakers in the second round, whether it was OKC, all the attention to detail, the little things that we did in every single series. This is how we're going to beat the Lakers. This is how we're going to knock off the two-time champions. Nobody thought we were going to win that series.
Mm-hmm.
This is how we're going to walk into OKC and we're going to beat these young up-and-comers. Harden, Durant, Westbrook, all on the same team. This is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to knock off Miami. It's the attention to detail. If the Pacers follow the game plan, I'm not going to say they're going to win for sure, but if you follow the game plan, it's going to put you in a great position to win because I know the game plan is going to be flawless.
Take it a step further because you asked another question about the focus. I remember Sean Marion walking in, and we're doing the interview. He goes, "What's up, OG? I only got one pair of socks, one pair of drawers."
Yep.
I said, "Man, stop playing around.
For
I
game
only have
6.
one pair of socks and one pair of drawers."
For game 6, yes.
Because he believed in y'all's game plan. So take a little bit further for our viewers that when a coach puts something on the board and they take it to the court and you walk through it, you buy into it.
Okay, I'll give you an example, right? So we're going to the Heat series, and he tells us what we're going to do to stop LeBron.
Right.
He said, first and foremost, I need you guys to pick him up full court, whether he's talking about Jason Kidd, Sean Marion, Deshaun Stevenson.
Okay.
So, pick up LeBron full court.
You see?
He's like, trust me, we're going to pick him up full court. We don't want him getting ahead of steam. Then when we get in the half court, we're going to go under the screen. We're going to give him help off the elbows and boxes. Because LeBron was shooting like 57% from the field, but he was only shooting like something like 17% outside of 15 feet.
And less packed on the defense,
right.
getting you on foul trouble.
He shoots 15% outside of the paint.
Yep.
So this is what we're going to do. We're going to press him full court. We're going to take away the paint, and we're not going to be afraid to put smaller guys on him if need be because he doesn't want to post up consistently. And these were all, at the time, we're questioning. He's 6'8". We can't put Jason Terry on him. It works. Hey, man, he's one of the fastest guys in the league. We can't pick him up full court. It works. We're going to go underneath the screen and dare him to shoot? Yeah, because we're going to help because this is what he shoots from out there. Everything worked. It worked to perfection, and that's what happens when you see the game plan working on a nightly basis. You start saying, oh, my coach does know what he's talking about.
You know what you just did?
Let's ride
You just struck fear in everyone that's rooting for the Bodega Cat. Jalen Brunson, your clutch player of the year. Knicks, Pacers, game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals at 8 o'clock. So, 3D, who wins game 1 and why?
I'm going with the New York Knickerbockers. They're rolling, they're home, and it's going to be crazy in Madison Square Garden tonight.
I'm going with the Knicks because of Brunson. I believe the game's going to be close in the clutch. He's one of the best. I'm going with your Knicks for the series, too. Knicks in 6. Knicks in 6 is a pick.
Look at Chris. Chris all hype over here.